Hi Tony, you have been serving Spadina Trinity area for so many years as
11
MP.
years, yeah.
11 years, yeah. Can you tell me like what kind of contribution you have done to this community?
Well, basically, I mean, first of all, as working on a government bench, you work within the government and within the caucus to ensure that one, there's good economic and fiscal policy so that people are working, the interest rates are low, you ensure that people have the opportunity to do the best that they possibly can do. In the last 11 years, 3 million new jobs have been created. There's 25% more Canadians working today than there was 10 years ago. We're leading the G7 nations. The unemployment rate is way down. It used to be 11.5%. Now it's just about 7%. There's a lot of things that we have been doing to reinvest in social programs so that Canadians have the kind of tools that they need to supply for their families a good life. And we've been investing in post-secondary education, graduate studies, research and development, affordable housing, money for the homeless, $10 billion for child tax benefits so that people with children get almost $3,000 a year per child. There are many things that we've been doing, and here in Trinity Spadina, the most recent was when we got the money, the $15 million for the International Dragon Boat Race so that we can get the competition for the 2006 year. When SARS was here, what we did was we got money from the federal government so that we leveraged it with the organizations and the business sector so that we got close to $600,000 spent in Chinatown when nobody wanted to come into Chinatown at the time. So that we continue working on the benefit of ensuring that in Trinity Spadina things go well. When you take into account the arts and culture community, the tourism community, we've spent with collaboration with the provincial government and philanthropists, there will be $1 billion of investments in the art gallery, the Royal Ontario Museum, the Ballet Opera House, the Royal Conservatory of Music, all of the other organizations that in effect within a short period of time will all be expanded, beautified, and will attract tourists from all around the world to see the cultural and artistic community that we have here. And of course, by getting the Rochester Ferry that will be coming here June 14th for the first voyage, that will eventually bring 750,000 new people into the city to ensure that tourism, and they spend their money, shop at the shops, see the entertainment district. These are the kind of things that we do, similar to tonight, the University Settlement House and Scadding Court and St. Stephen's House and St. Christopher House, all community groups that supply services to our residents in our community. And the federal government gives them grants for first-time pregnant mothers, youth at risk money, summer career placements so that there could be day camps for kids. There are many things that the federal government does that basically ensures that our community is vibrant and that people are not left behind. And that's in effect what we try to do.
Yeah. So in the past, like the city, like for example, the Toronto City Mayor, they also complain that they don't have like enough attention from the federal level. They want more money to like fund the city.
You tell me, what would happen if he said that he had enough? Would anybody give him any more? No.
Nothing is enough, right?
So
Yeah.
whether it's the provincial governments, whether it's the cities, whether it's the special interest groups, everyone is trained to always say it's not enough. So that's constant battle. But we wish we had more money, but we're not going to tax people more to get more money unless there's an extreme emergency. So on that basis, we've been cutting $100 billion in taxes so people have, especially low-income people, have more money in their pockets. We took over 2 million Canadians off the federal tax rolls to ensure that they're not paying any federal tax. When you take a look at our situation now with all the money that we've reduced in taxes has been tremendous, and yet we put close to $40 billion towards health care to ensure that if anybody is ever sick, there's nothing they have to worry about. They don't need a credit card. Everyone is covered that's living here and is landed immigrant or with a citizen.
Okay. Say, for example, when we compare Spadina Trinity area to some newly Norton development like Markham, Richmond Hill, it seems that Spadina Trinity is a very unique Chinatown-based,
It
area.
is the center. It is the
point is that
epicenter.
it seems a bit old-fashioned. Do you think you need to modernize it or getting more federal money to?
Well, no, because basically that's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is, look, what's the difference between Markham, Thornhill, Mississauga, Richmond Hill. Is there a difference between when you go to one Chinatown there or another? Mm-hmm. Not really, but this is unique. People come from all over the city to see this Chinatown because there's so much service, the quality is just as good as anywhere else, but it's the ambiance. And it's all close to the Art Gallery, to the Harbourfront Centre, to the Air Canada Centre, to the Sky Dome, to the Royal Ontario Museum, to the University of Toronto. It's all here together. And people living in cohesion. It's such a great example of what Canada is all about.
I see. So regarding the recent poll, seems that the poll for Liberals seems sliding, but always Liberals getting lots of support from the Chinese. So,
right.
So do you think that you'll continue to getting support for the community to win?
Well, I think what you'll find in the next few days is that the polls will start to increase, and you're starting to see that the last couple of days. Because what happened the first couple of weeks, people were not interested in politics yet. It took a little while for them to finally realize there's a difference between provincial and federal. And people were complaining about gas tax, about the property tax, so many things that weren't federal government initiatives. Now they start to realize that it is the federal government that has done tremendous good for our nation. We're leading the G7 nations, 7 years in a row, a surplus. We started off with $42 billion deficit. We only had $140 billion of revenue total of our expenditure. So it was a big percentage that we didn't have enough money for. Little by little, sensitively, we reduced the deficit to the point where we've had 7 surpluses in a row. And we've reduced over $50 billion of debt. So now our debt is basically just around the 500 billion mark. And 130 of that is employee pension, employee pension, which in effect is not real terms of foreign debt or anything like that. So we're doing our GDP to debt ratio is reduced tremendously from where it was before, and that's why the confidence in Canadian economy is extremely high. And when the G7 nations get together, as Paul Martin, the Prime Minister, did the other day, he's the only one with a surplus.
So you just mentioned that people may have a misconception about the provincial Liberal and the federal Liberal. Do you think that the health premium imposed by the provincial Liberal will hurt like federal Liberal?
Well, I think in some ways it might, but I think what I'm finding at the doors is that people understand the difference in Trinity Spadina, and they realize that in the end, if we want more money for health care, that because all the tax money that exists is everyone's money. It's not newfound money, it's everyone's money that they contribute every year through their tax system. So in the end, if we want the kind of healthcare system where we get the best, where they want home care and all these other services, we all have to pay as a society. That's what makes Canada special, because we do contribute more for those that make more. But in the end, we make sure that those that don't have money are also benefiting in some of the basic needs that we consider a value system for Canadians. And healthcare is a stamp that makes us unique in the world.
As we recall, in your previous election, the then Prime Minister Song Crescent came to show the support in your campaign. Do you think this time Paul Martin will be coming to show his support?
Of course he will.
He will.
Yeah.
So that will be a boost for the election support?
I don't know about that. I mean, I think first of all that I have a lot of support in Trinity Spadina. The community knows me. I do a lot of good work. People come to my constituency office. They know that when they come to my constituency office, we give them honest to goodness good work. We generally supply good results. We can't do everything, but we try our best. We never let people down, at least from our attempt. And that year after year, when you're talking 11 years with thousands of people a year coming, it serves a lot of people. And when you take into account the many communities that we actually serve, whether they be the University Settlement House or the Alexandra Park Co-op or Harbourfront Centre or the waterfront condos, we do all of our work in a way that basically eventually the people get to know and they're satisfied, and so we're getting very good reaction at the doors.
Yeah. You say that you have been serving 11 years, just 3 terms, right?
Yes.
3 terms, yeah.
Yes.
So in the past, seems that you easily get a win over for the past. But this time, do you think a threat from your opponent?
Well, I don't take anything for granted ever. Even when I won 20,000 to 10,000 against the NDP, I still did not take anything for granted. I worked extremely hard. Similarly, when I won by 4,000 last time against the NDP, I didn't take anything for granted, nor will I take anything for granted this time. When I go door to door, people know me, and generally they tell me they like me, they like my honesty, my hard work, and my dedication. And I appreciate their support, and many of them are coming out into the campaign, and many of my colleagues from across the GTA are saying that I have the most volunteers of anyone. And the reason is because we do good work and people appreciate the work we do, and they then volunteer on their own. They come to our office and they say, I want to help you. And of course, with one of my opponents being a Canadian of Chinese origin, I still have a lot of support from Canadians of Chinese origin because they know me. They're almost like my family, because basically I see them at event after event after event. We serve them, they call me, I go, and that's the reason that I continue getting the support in the community.
Yeah, so I believe you live in the Spadina Trinity area. Yeah, so that I know that you have been a very high exposure and personality in the Chinese community. That means like if you can win over and over again, you try your whole life to serve the community.
Well, I always try to serve, right? What I try to do is I try to serve my constituents. I want to make sure that every family has everything they need. A job, opportunity at school, opportunity to retrain if necessary, a good life in seniors. You're familiar with the seniors' recommendation on the increase in the guaranteed income supplement that the Prime Minister has given me pleasure by stating it in the platform, which is basically to give an increase of $433 for a senior for a year for those guaranteed income supplement recipients. And also for a couple that's low income, $700 a year. They haven't had a raise since 1985, other than the cost of living, the 1%, 2%. So that is phenomenal. And of course, in the program that we have as Liberals, the Prime Minister announced a $7 a day daycare program, so that anyone out there that has a child and would like to go to work, but can't afford to go to work because they have a child at home, still young, will have the opportunity to put in daycare a child for only $7 and still go to work and make it worthwhile. These are the kind of programs that we're talking about with home care, a national home care program where people can stay in their homes and be served.
Okay. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
We hope to see you in the next Parliament.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.